Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It's Ukrainian show on Pod TV. My name is Sasha Star, and today's guests we have Dr. Jonathan Lockwood. Welcome to the show, Jonathan.
Thank you, Sasha. Glad to be here as always.
And Ivan Kucherenko from Kiev, Ukraine. Welcome to the show, Ivan.
Hello, Sasha. Hello, Jonathan. Glad to be here as well.
Hi, I was horrified today when I looked at the major source, Ukrainian Pravda, and there was about the announcement of Russian commanders in Kharkiv region to catch as many Ukrainian soldiers as possible and cut off their heads. And one picture was on the vehicle that was captured by Russians, and on the top of the vehicle there was a head of a Ukrainian soldier. So the war is becoming incredible in its brutality, and it's coming from Russians, not from Ukrainians. Ivan, do you have any comments on that?
Yeah, this is another proof of how Russians are doing this barbarian war, that they don't consider any international laws, the Geneva Convention, no, and their major goal is to to threaten Ukrainian soldiers, to threaten Ukrainian population, Ukrainian defenders. They're doing like terrorists, actually, because if they will seed the fear into parts of our defenders, into parts of our population, they will prevail. Also, they will prevail if they will seed anger, because when soldiers are angry, they don't think about the proper tactics. They just try to put the anger on their enemy, and this is not okay for battle too. So they are trying to achieve these goals, and they are doing such atrocities. But I'm not surprised, because actually all possible surprises were disappeared more than 2 years ago, when Bucha was liberated. Actually, Bucha showed what Russians are capable for, and other liberated Ukrainian territories as well, that we are fighting not the civilized people, we are fighting not the civilized army, we are fighting an horde. They have a letter Z as their major symbol. Their modern swastika, like Nicest had swastika during the Second World War. Russians have that Z symbol, but Z is also first letter in zombie, and the way like they're throwing their troops in those in mid grinders. It's like the zombie apocalypse from the similar movies. A lot of Ukrainian defenders, a lot of Ukrainian warriors say that they're behaving really like zombies, and that brutality is a great illustration of that.
Yeah. It reminds me of the saying of General George Patton in one of his speeches, when he said that no bastard ever won a war by dying for his country. He made it by making the other poor dumb bastard die for his country.
Yeah. Ivan, would you like to show us the movies that you prepared for us for today?
Yeah, sure. It's not about zombies. It's more friendly about Ukrainian warriors and their children. We had a Father Days last Sunday, and this is really cute video about how Ukrainian children her speaking about their fathers and what they're doing. So let's watch it.
Beautiful. Yeah, let's watch it.
Guardian. He protects us from the bad guys. And my father can build a whole city in the ground.
My pops is a scientist, but he really likes to play on a computer.
I'm not scared of the dark because my daddy can fight it.
My dad is the strongest. He can drive a tank.
I saw him once fly on a very loud plane, like supersonic.
My dad has superpowers. If someone's hurt, he can cure them.
He has a very important job. When something happens, he knows first, like Batman.
My father drives a truck and brings super important artifacts for the warriors to fight evil.
He catches the rockets that fly at us with his hands. So he's very tired when he comes home, and he is super busy because there are so many rockets.
My dad is the best. I love him so much.
Eternal love to all the dads. Happy Father's Day.
That is just excellent. That is excellent.
Excellent movie. Great picture. Kids are incredible. Yeah, I'm glad that these days in Ukraine there are very similar holidays like in the West. For example, like Father's Day. In my time, there was no such holiday in Ukraine or Mother's Day or anything like this. But it's
yeah, luckily old Soviet holidays like the International Labor Day or the Day of October Revolution.
great
They comes to the past, and Ukraine is moving towards the civilized society. And, really. All those Ukrainian refugees who came to Europe, they were a really big surprise for Europeans because they not such a great majority of them had experience of communicating and knowing Ukrainians, and they imagined refugees like some refugees from Syria, from some African countries or Afghanistan, etc. And when they see the same people as they are, which like to work, which are workaholic, which didn't sit on those compensation, refugee compensation, and try to build their life and to find the work, to learn language. They were really surprised because of that, and I hope that changed the perception of Ukrainians in the Europe, probably in the United States. Unfortunately, not all Ukrainians are good people. There is a percentage of those who are lazy or who has so much money that they came to Europe on their luxury cars and try to continue their luxury life there. Of course, there is, but luckily this percentage is much less than the number of real Ukrainians who are honest, who like to work, and whom the dream is just to end this war and to come back to Ukraine to their families.
And in ending the war, all world was shocked by Putin's peaceful proposal, so-called. It was rather ultimatum, sounds like. Not really.
It was all too reminiscent of Hitler's ultimatum price in 1938.
Yeah.
For peace, and all too many Europeans recall that example, and the price that we ultimately paid for that.
Or, Jonathan, speaking about the peace proposal of Hitler, there was one really exactly the same what Putin did is before the beginning of actual war against Poland. So Hitler's, what he said there, the Germans are very peaceful people. And all Germans want is long-lasting peace. And in order to achieve that peace, Germans have to have their way to dancing. And failing that, it's a huge obstacle to the peace that Germans people so want. And next day, there was, of course, the beginning of the war.
Hitler was such a great peacemaker as Putin considered himself to be, but we know how Hitler finished, and I'm sure that one day Putin will be finished like this. Unfortunately, he will not finish like Slobodan Milosevic. He will not be judged in Hague. He just will kill himself, or he will be killed by his opponents, or of some kind of Russian revolution. But it will be not in the International Criminal Court, unfortunately, unless one country where he will fly to will capture him and just give him to International Criminal Court, because there is an order on him as an international criminal. I remind that there is an order on him because of kidnapping Ukrainian children from occupied territories, which is prohibited by a Geneva Convention. I don't know why there is no more orders on him and his followers because of other crimes they committed in Ukraine. This is a really great surprise for me, why after the more than 2 years of war, there is no more orders on Putin and his generals and his Security Council members and all those who support him. And this is probably another great question to United Nations, to the International Criminal Court, why no one, why they didn't still issue another order on him.
Well, I would like to mention, Ivan, you just a few minutes ago, you mentioned atrocities in Bucha, and that's what Russian are definitely capable of. And not only that, but exactly what Hamas did in Israel on October 7th. It sounds very much alike what Russians did in Bucha. The purpose was it's definitely, it's not a human behavior. It's something, some kind of animal instincts were.
I would also go so far as to say that's almost demonic behavior.
It is demonic. It's never happened in the land. I love history, and I've learned a lot about the times of whether it's Alexander the Great or Genghis Khan or just anything. And I don't find, the only thing is Genghis Khan, he was destroying cities that were resisting his armies. But all he did, well, he just killed all the men and he captured all women and kids and so on, and that's it. But I never read about any atrocities on the scale of Bucha or October 7th that any army of all time would ever resort to it. And now this new order to catch and behead Ukrainian soldiers,
It's an attempt at psychological intimidation.
It's psychological intimidation, no doubt about that. But the order, I don't believe that some kind of commander, whether it's a captain or major, could come up with such order. He definitely got it from upstairs, and that would be very interesting one day, investigate how it's all been initiated. It's horrific, and there are no words really to describe it. And so now, from sources that I'm following, is that because of this Putin so-called proposal, it's been done right the day before the Swiss summit. right? If it would have been done 2 weeks before the summit, there could be a situation that maybe some summit probably could have been cancelled, or maybe some countries would cancel its participation or something. 2 weeks, but not on the last day. So if he is always portrayed as a great tactician and so on, but here he acted as a very poor tactician. First of all, I'm not even going into merits of his proposal, but even the timing of his proposal is nothing but all wrong.
Sasha, I will not agree with you, because if Putin issued this so-called proposal 2 weeks before the peace summit, I'm pretty sure that even more countries joined it and signed the memorandum of that peace summit, because this proposal is inadequate. It's bullshit, and it doesn't show that Russia wants peace. It shows that Russia wants territories, to control territories, and not only territories, but to control the entire Ukraine. That Ukraine should be demilitarized. Ukraine should not be a part of the NATO. That Ukraine should be naked against the future invasion of Russia, because at that time he'll say, okay, give us not only those territories which we captured already, but those territories, the rest of those territories of those regions we didn't capture. We didn't have enough power to capture yet, and probably we will not be able to capture. But give them those territories, and guarantee that Ukraine will be defenseless in face of our future invasion, when we'll get in more power and capture the rest of the territories, because they don't need those 3 regions or parts of those 3 regions or 4 regions they've already captured. They need the entire territory of Ukraine. And we already discussed several times on our shows why Russia needs Ukraine as an entire country, because actually very few remember that the Soviet Union was created as a commonwealth, actually, of several Soviet republics, of Russian Soviet Republic, Ukrainian Soviet Republic, Belarusian Soviet Republic, Kazakhstan Soviet Republic, and other. So it was not an empire. It was just a union of so-called independent Soviet Republic. But those republics, we know all from the history, were completely controlled by Moscow. And without one of the biggest Soviet republics, which Ukraine was actually, there were no Soviet Union. And the goal of Putin is to restore the Soviet Union in his previous territories, and besides the geographic ambitions, it's also the very pragmatic goals to get the Ukrainian military industry, because it was a part of Soviet military industry, and Russia can't produce a lot of their weapons without Ukraine being a part of their supply chains systems. They
Actually,
can produce
sophisticated weapons were produced in around Dnipropetrovsk.
Rocket weapons. For instance, now Russia can't. Probably you've seen this publication news that they had a major fire on their ship in Baltic Sea. Yeah, and why this major fire issued? Because they can't made a service for the engines of that ship. Why they couldn't made a proper service of these engines for the ship is a simple answer, because the engines for this ship were produced in Mykolaiv, in Ukrainian city, which they tried to capture in the beginning. The well-known Moskva cruiser was built in the shipyard in Mykolaiv, actually. actually, as same as their all other ships of that class. Their landing ships were built in Poland, in the shipyards of Poland, in Gdańsk.
About this ship Moscow, you reminded me, remember Taras Bulba by great Nikolai Gogol, when at the end when Taras Bulba kills his son. So remember what he said, «Я тебя породил, я тебя и убью». Okay, I got you born and I'll also kill you. And this is exactly
or another way of putting it, I brought you into this world and I can take you out of it.
Exactly.
Everything is cyclic, and the history repeats. And I just want to remind that Moscow was founded by the Duke of Kievan Rus. Of Ukrainian, actually. Ukrainians founded, the ancestors of Ukrainians founded Moscow. And this is another reason why Russia wants to capture Ukraine and Kiev, because Kiev is their historical heritage.
It reminds me of what one of my colleagues told me when he was in negotiations with a Russian general, and he was asked what he considered to be the most beautiful city in all of Russia. And the Russian's response was Kiev.
Yeah, it's actually, there is another example in history when German tribes captured Rome, the capital of the civilization at that time, of the European civilization, because Rome was the nurse of European civilization. They established the Holy Roman Empire. So they annexed the Roman heritage. There were no Romans, actually, like Russians in their majority. They're not Slavic people. They're Mongols. They're the children of Mongol hordes of Genghis Khan, but they want to capture Kiev in order to annex this heritage and to say no, we are Europeans. Kiev is our motherland, and it's a part of the Russian Empire, and everything. The puzzle is solved. So this is the goal why they want. Just want to remind you, the goals why they want to capture all Ukraine. They're militaristic ones to complete their supply chains and producing weapons. They're of course industrial ones because Ukraine is a rich country with the rich deposits of minerals, the very fertile land. They're cultural ones, the heritage of the Kievan Rus now belongs to Ukraine, and Russians want to claim that heritage. And it's a demographic ones, because Ukraine is a country with a great population, and with this population as a resource, Russia will be a really dangerous enemy for the Western countries. That's why they want to capture this resource. That's like they're doing on the occupied territories. They're killing those who is against them. They're mobilizing men to their army. They're putting those special troops with machine guns in their hands besides their back, and command them to go and attack Ukrainian positions. So they're using the population from occupied territories actually as slaves by sending them the prisoners. They're using prisoners. They're using population on occupied territories. They're using migrants, because now we've seen a lot of examples when Russia is hiring mercenaries in Nepal, in India, in African countries, and then they're throwing those they're promising them the Russian citizenship, they're promising them money, and then they bring them near Bakhmut or near Kharkiv now, when they're trying to advance in Kharkiv on other directions, and just say them, order them that go ahead and try to survive. Actually,
I think that most of them will get Russian citizenship as well as money posthumously. So it's not a big joy in that. Speaking about the history, I'm following sport a lot, and right now there is a European Soccer Championship in Germany. Guess what? Russia is no longer part of European Soccer Association. It's now part of Asian Soccer Association. Russians claiming now that their country is so big that it's part of it's in Europe, but even larger part, much larger part, in fact, is in Asia. So it's logical that Russia will join Asian Association. And not only soccer, same thing is in chess and many other sports. And when they are fighting about Kiev heritage and they cannot get it because Kiev has nothing to do anymore with Russia for a long time, they should keep actually their Asian heritage. And there are new Russian history developments. Now what they're saying is that there was no fight between Mongols, Tatars against Russia. Absolutely not. It was fight of one group of Russians against other group of Russians. And they're bringing the fact that Chinggis Khan, he was born on today's Russian territory, just 8 kilometers south of the lake Baikal. So then you can view Russian history in completely new light. There's a group of Russians which were concentrated, well, there was no Moscow at that time, so whatever around Vladimir Suzdalsky or whatever, something else. And Mongols who came from south of the lake of Baikal or today's Mongolia. But today it's Lake Baikal and whatever 8 kilometers south of Baikal, it's proper Russian territory today. So now they can solve their historical problems and they can join all Asian sport federations and good luck to them. What an annoyance. And many, by the way, I'm following chess a lot, and many Russian well-known chess players, they all moved to the West and changed their citizenship and, of course, federation as well. And right now there is one very big women's tournament in St. Louis in the United States. And there is a former world champion, Alexandra Kostyanyuk. I know her very well. And the last time I played a few weeks ago, Blitz in Toronto. It was Blitz tournament. I lost my game. But what's interesting is that she's now living in Switzerland on Lake Lugano, and she changed her federation. So she's playing under Swiss flag, and she's completely through with Russia for good. And she's not the only one. There are quite a few men chess players or so on.
Well, Sasha, all I can say is that all of the relevant factors and relevant indicators are continuing to move in Ukraine's favor. And,
yeah, that's right. That's right.
And what I've been saying in recent programs is that the moment is arriving at the moment of Ukraine's choosing. They still control very much their own destiny in this war. And I am still anticipating a decisive move by the Ukrainian military to finally sever control of the Crimea from Russian occupation and control. Once that logistical and reinforcement link is completely severed, then Crimea will be vulnerable to a successful counteroffensive by Ukrainian strategic reserves. They will retake possession of the Crimea. That will inflict a decisive and visible operational defeat on the Russian army. And they will not be able to explain it away or excuse it or say, oh, we intended to do that. This is all part of a clever trap. No, it isn't.
No. And Ivan, maybe you are watching some of them. There are some Russian propagandist talk shows like by Solovyov and some Skabeva and some other bullshit artists. But I really enjoyed a few minutes that I watched. You can't believe, well, like the format of the shows. There is the host of the show, for example, Solovyov, and there are several like other clowns who are talking about. So before it was all very like almost unison. They were all saying the same thing or so on. It's very different situation now. Now, one general, I forgot the name, but he was horrified, and he's saying, what's happening? Where is our red lines? There were red lines that they cannot use HIMARS. Now they use HIMARS against us. There were a red line about ATACMS. Now they got ATACMS. They're using ATACMS against us. And not only in Crimea, now they're attacking the targets on our Russian territory. Where is our red line? What are we doing about? Where is our nuclear bombs? Why don't we use them? We have to go ahead and use them.
They may be tacitly admitting that their nuclear arsenal isn't as effective or efficient as they are pretending.
Yeah.
We're going to have to get on because we're at the half an hour, but think about this. I'd like to go visit Kiev.
Yes, good idea.
Since I'm going to be over there in September. So maybe on the next show, let me know how I can sneak into Ukraine.
And the key operative word is sneak into Ukraine. Don't sit there. Don't broadcast to Putin and say, hi, here I am. Shoot me first.
It's not hard. You just have to fly to Poland, and from Poland by train or by some transfer by bus, you can go to Kiev. Write me. I will try to help you with information. I will be glad to see you in Kiev and to meet in real life.
You'll have to change your sign down there if you're Nick Balavita broadcasting from Kiev.
We will broadcast together.
There you go.
We're past the half an hour, and our technicians want to keep us on the slot, so we'll have to see.
Time flies when you're having fun.
All right, bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Slava Ukraini.